Right friends, welcome back to Why and How. This is for 4th week from 23rd January to 29th January. The first issue is INS Kanderi. This is the second Scorpion class submarine. This was launched at Majagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited in Mumbai, Maharashtra. And all of you are familiar with INS Kalvari. INS Kalvari was the first of this Scorpion class of submarines. I will tell you a little bit about these submarines. First one is INS Kalvari. The second one is now INS Kanderi, and this Kanderi is named after the island fort of Maratha ruler. This is another important point, and this is part of Project 75 of the Indian Navy, and under Project 75, 6 submarines are being built by Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited in Mumbai, and the technology transfer is from DCNS of France. This is one important aspect, and another important aspect with regard to these submarines is they have superior stealth features. You may have a doubt what is meant by stealth. Stealth means it is not easy to detect them. So, they have superior stealth features, that is one part. Second part is they have ability to launch a crippling attack on the enemy, that is the second aspect. And the other aspect is attack from it can be launched with torpedoes. This is the picture of INS Kanderi, and here torpedoes can be launched from the submarine. So, these are the important features of this Scorpion class of submarines. Look at the second one. Peace talks to solve the Israel-Palestinian issue took place in Paris, and the previous round of talks collapsed in 2014, and the crux of the matter with regard to Israel-Palestine conflict is with regard to Jerusalem. In fact, Israel says Jerusalem is its capital, but Palestine want eastern part of Jerusalem as its capital. So, this is the bone of contention between Israel and Palestine, and the chances of the talks becoming successful appears to be quite slim because of this Jerusalem issue between Israel and Palestine. And these are the settlements coming up in West Bank as well as East Jerusalem areas. Look at the next one. Palestinian embassy to the Holy See. You may have a doubt what is meant by Holy See. Holy See is nothing but Vatican City. So, this Palestinian embassy to the Vatican City was inaugurated recently. And don't forget, Vatican recognized Palestinian statehood almost a year and a half ago. As I have already told you, status of Jerusalem is one of the most complex issues in the entire Middle East conflict. Look into the next issue. This is Ecuador has taken over from Thailand as the chair of G77 countries for the year 2017. More than this, you should have clear idea about what is meant by G77. G77 countries were formed in 1964 to fight collectively with regard to the economic interests of the developing countries under the United Nations. To fight collectively the economic interests of the developing countries within United Nations. This group of 77 was formed in 1964. Initially it has 77 members and now increased to 134 member countries. Right? So, to explain you about what is meant by G77, I have taken this issue. Look at the next one. An expert group headed by former Finance Secretary Sumit Bose has submitted its report to the Ministry of Rural Development. What is the objective of this expert group? Right identification of beneficiaries is important aspect, because government is giving lot of subsidies, social assistance in one way or the other, and all of you are familiar with Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Rural, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana or NRLM. There are several programs are there. Basically, identification of beneficiaries is the biggest challenge, and basically the expert group studied the criteria for allocation of resources to states and identification and prioritization of beneficiaries under various programs using SECC data. Right? Look at the next one. Competition Commission of India. What is the meaning of Competition Commission of India? Competition Commission of India is the fair trade regulator in our country, and basically it looks at activities that have an adverse impact on the competition in India. There should not be monopolistic tendencies in our country, and basically to act as a fair trade regulator, this Competition Commission of India was established, and it is affiliated office to Ministry of Corporate Affairs, please don't forget, and it became statutory body under Competition Act of 2002, and recently it imposed penalty of rupees 206 crore on cement companies. What is the reason? The reason is the firms have came together to raise a bid price of a tender in Haryana. Colluded means they came together with some ulterior motive, that is the meaning of collusion. Right friends, look at the next one. The testing of cryogenic engine of Gslv Mark III was successful, and ISRO is about to launch 3200 kg communication satellite to space in March. And 2-3 important points I would like to tell you. Communication satellites are to be placed in geosynchronous orbit. Communication satellites are to be placed in geosynchronous orbit. And second point is, they are normally quite heavy, in the range of around 4 tons, and at present our infrastructure cannot place those satellites, and we can carry only up to 2200 kg or so, and to place 4000 kg satellites, our ISRO at present do not have sufficient rockets. That's why we are launching these satellites from French Guyana, that is Kourou, French Guyana. So now this experiment of cryogenic engine is in the direction to place around 4000 kg satellites, right? So once this experiment becomes reality, then the payload of our satellites will increase. We need not depend on other launch stations, right? And second important point is why this cryogenic technology is required. 2-3 things I would like to tell you. Cryogenic engine means it uses liquid oxygen as well as liquid hydrogen. Liquid oxygen as well as liquid hydrogen, and here oxygen remains at liquid state when the temperature goes below minus 183 degrees centigrade, and hydrogen will be at liquid state when the temperature goes below minus 253 degrees centigrade, and fuels have to be freezed to such low temperatures, then they will become liquid, and when the fuels are taken in liquid state, then mass flow of fluids will increase. When mass flow of fluids increases, then what will happen? Thrust will increase. When thrust increases, the carrying capacity of rocket will increase. When the carrying capacity of rocket increases, then we can place high payload satellites into orbit. So that is the theory behind these cryogenic engines. Right? So now the experiment is successful, and in future let us hope that our satellites, especially communication satellites, will be placed in orbit by our own rockets. Look into the next issue. Securities and Exchange Board of India tightened rules and regulations for mergers and amalgamations by Indian companies. When two companies are merging or amalgamation takes place, then the duty of Securities and Exchange Board of India is basically to protect the interests of shareholders. So here, holding of public shareholders subsequent to merger cannot be less than 25%, and like that certain safeguards are given for public shareholders, right. So these are in the right direction. Union government has cleared Tamil Nadu government's proposal to promulgate an ordinance to hold Jallikattu, a traditional bull taming sport. Now this ordinance issued to ensure that provisions of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act will not apply to bull. Here 2-3 things I would like to tell you. Article 213 of the Constitution gives Governor the power to issue ordinances. Governor can issue ordinances as per Article 213 of the Constitution, but one important aspect one should know is why the centre's approval is taken in this case. Why the centre's approval is taken in this case? There is one law enacted by the centre. The law is Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. And before understanding why the centre's approval is taken, please look into this aspect. There are 3 lists. List 1 Union list, List 2 State list, List 3 concurrent list. This is as per 7th schedule, or you can say Article 246 7th schedule. And as per this, List 1 exclusive domain of centre, List 2 exclusive domain of state, and List 3 concurrent list, where centre and states will draw powers from the Constitution. And here, as per Article 245, Parliament can enact laws under List 1, and state legislatures can enact laws under List 2, and when it concerns concurrent list or List 3, both centre as well as states can enact laws, but centre will prevail if state's law is clashing with the centre, and this is known as doctrine of repugnancy. So, doctrine of repugnancy is with regard to concurrent list, and this is as per Article 254, because Jallikattu is into the news in recent times, and this is very much important. So, this is doctrine of repugnancy. Hence, if the state law is repugnant, then it requires the assent of the central government, or you can say president. So, this doctrine of repugnancy is very much important. So, that is why the approval of centre is taken in Jallikattu ordinance case. 2016 is the hottest year on record as per the World Meteorological Organization. 2016 is the hottest, and in comparison to pre-industrial era of around 1750 AD, temperature in 2016 already increased by 1.1 degrees centigrade. And please don't forget, Paris Pact says that the global temperature rise is to be limited to 2 degrees centigrade, preferably 1.5 degrees centigrade in comparison to pre-industrial levels by 2100. You see the irony, already the temperatures raised by 1.1 degrees centigrade. And second important point is, in 2016, Arctic and Antarctic regions having minimum sea ice levels. That is second point. Third point is, ocean temperature rise caused coral reef bleaching, including Great Barrier Reef, where more than 50% of the corals died. Coral bleaching. What is the meaning of coral bleaching? And before understanding it, where is Great Barrier Reef? This Great Barrier Reef is near Australia. And second point is coral bleaching. Coral bleaching means expelling zooxanthellae algae, right? So these are the pictures. And why more and more coral bleaching is occurring? The answer is, nowadays ocean temperatures are becoming more and more warm. Somebody may ask you why the coral bleaching is taking place, because sea temperatures are increasing. Warm oceans is responsible for expelling zooxanthellae algae. It is the one of the most important reason. Then encasing panel on revisiting FRBM Act submitted its report. The report details are not made public. So, encasing committee is with regard to suggesting modifications to FRBM Act, and this committee consisted of total 5 members, and Urjit Patel is one of the members, and at that time he was a deputy governor. That's why it is mentioned as deputy governor here. Looking to the next aspect, the Committee of Chief Ministers under the chairmanship of Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu submitted its report with regard to digital transactions. The committee suggested levying a handling charge for cash payments above Rs 50,000, and at the same time it also recommended tax breaks to consumers and merchants using digital mode of payments, and it also recommended abolition of merchant discount rate. And merchant discount rate is basically shared by 3: issuer bank, acquirer bank, and the payment gateways. That is very important. Look at the next issue. Pinaka rockets were successfully test fired from the integrated test range at Chandipurinsi in Odisha, and now its range is enhanced to 70 kilometers in addition to accuracy, and the present version is Pinaka Mark II. Right? Look into the next one. Finance Ministry has made public the final guidelines of place of effective management, and the question with regard to place of effective management is expected, because place of effective management guidelines are with regard to the implementation of General Anti-Avoidance Rules from 1st April 2017. This place of effective management, this looks at whether the company is engaged in active business outside India or not. This assumed significance because of the reason nowadays lot of shell companies are coming up abroad, especially in low tax or no tax destinations, and in one way or the other they are trying to avoid taxes in India. That's why this General Anti-Avoidance Rules are being brought from 1st April 2017. The purpose of General Anti-Avoidance Rules is basically to look at shell companies or to target shell companies, and in fact to look at the companies where maximum income is generated in our country, and for the name's sake they are operating from countries like Mauritius or Bahamas. So, as to look at those aspects, this General Anti-Avoidance Rules are going to be brought from 1st April 2017, and this place of effective management regulations are to properly implement General Anti-Avoidance Rules. Look into the next one. US President Donald Trump signed extreme vetting order to limit immigration, but court overturned it. As per the Donald Trump's order, radical Islamic terrorists will be kept out of USA. That is the main aim of this order. And here, ban on refugees from Syria till significant changes are made, and suspension of US refugee admissions program for 120 days, and 90-day suspension on arrivals from 7 countries designated as areas of concern, but court overturned it. Look into the next one. Reserve Bank of India prohibited Indian companies and entities making direct investment in NCCT. What is NCCT? NCCT is non-cooperative countries and territories. Non-cooperative countries and territories, you may have a doubt. Who identifies NCCT? NCCT are identified by FATF. FATF is Financial Action Task Force. It is an intergovernmental organization established in 1989 with 35 member jurisdictions and 2 regional organizations. The purpose of Financial Action Task Force is to look at this money laundering and terrorist financing. And in the jurisdictions which were designated as NCCT, that is non-cooperative countries and territories, RBI prohibited direct investment by Indian entities. That is all about this news item. Look at the next one. Target Olympic Podium Scheme was reconstituted. This is known as the TOP scheme. If someone talks about a TOP scheme, this is a Target Olympic Podium Scheme, and it is monitored by Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Basically, this is to identify and support potential medal prospects for 2020 and 24, and the committee will be headed by Abhinav Bindra, Olympic gold medalist. Right? So, this TOP scheme was formulated by Union Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Looking to the next issue, Niti Aayog is planning to organize a 2-day event in February 2017. This is 2017. So, it is going to organize 2-day event in February 2017 in schools that have been selected for Atal Tinkering Labs. You may have a doubt what is meant by Atal Tinkering Labs. The main purpose of Atal Tinkering Labs, 500 labs are going to be established. The main purpose is 1 million school children are going to be trained basically to inculcate culture of scientific innovation into the young minds, and 500 labs will be established. So, if someone talks about Atal Tinkering Labs, basically to inculcate a culture of scientific innovation into the young minds. So, it is in February 2017, this 2-day workshop is going to be organized by Niti Aayog. The main purpose is to inculcate a culture of scientific innovation into the young minds. Look at the last one. Farmer suicides touched the farming heartland of Tamil Nadu. This is the Kaveri Delta. Over 100 farmers, mostly in Kaveri Delta, have committed suicide during the period of 1 month, basically due to the failure of this northeast monsoon, and it triggered the worst drought in 140 years, and now this farmers' suicides also came to Tamil Nadu because of the failure of monsoon. Right friends, with this let us conclude why and how. Please do join for other modules and capsules. Have a nice day. Thank you.